should still be fine. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. Lane setup's working perfectly. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. Lane setup's working. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. TV is getting slowed down. Lane setup's working. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. TV is getting slowed down. Lane setup's working. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. TV is getting slowed down. Lane setup's working. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. TV is getting slowed down. Lane setup's working. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. TV is getting slowed down. Lane setup's working. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. TV is getting slowed down. Lane setup's working. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. TV is getting slowed down. Lane setup's working. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. TV is getting slowed down. Lane setup's working. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. TV is getting slowed down. Lane setup's working. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. TV is getting slowed down. Lane setup's working. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. TV is getting slowed down. Lane setup's working. But what a start for VP. Top. Also getting the kill. He should still be fine. TV is getting slowed down. Lane setup's working. But what a start for VP.
Dire structures are fortified.
还在 C， 基地都要炸了，还在 C， 还在 C， 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 还在 C， 基地都要炸了，还在 C。
Louty.
Comforting rune of regeneration. Comforting rune of regeneration. You came for. Comforting rune of regeneration. You came for.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Whoa, what'd I miss? Huzzah!
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Nạn quá. Không sao, win the ball guys.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle 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 tower is under attack.
The rune of regeneration. The rune of regeneration. The rune
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
You surpassed the monster.
Да нет, друг, я не пробую.
Radiant structures are fortified.
You surpassed the monster.
Да нет, друг, я не пробую.
Here I am. Here I am.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Да нет, друг, я не пробую. Да нет, друг, я не пробую.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Да нет, друг, я не пробую. Да нет, друг, я не пробую.
Dire's bottom tower. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Stupendous.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Blessings upon a loyal warrior. Blessings upon a loyal warrior.
Radiant are scanning. Radiant are scanning.
I'm over here. Huzzah! I'm over here. Huzzah! Here I am.
Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's middle tower is under attack. is under attack.
Да нет, друг, я не оправдываюсь.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
我不理解。
Radiant are scanning. Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant are scanning. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant are scanning. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Lose together, win together, slay together, slay together, slay together. Lose together, slay together, slay together, slay together. Lose together, win together, slay together, slay together, slay together. Slay together, slay together, slay together.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is fallen. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Да нет, друг, я не оправдываюсь. Да нет, друг, я не оправдываюсь.
Illusion! Dire's top tower is under attack.
Да нет, друг, я не оправдываюсь. Да нет, друг, я не оправдываюсь.
Illusion! Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen. Dire's bottom barracks. Radiant's top tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom barracks. Radiant's top tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower has fallen. Middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen. Dire's top barracks has fallen. Dire's top barracks has fallen. Radiant's now have Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Terrifying Dota 2, both times. I mean, this game very much more of a team. Point someone out again, but you maybe do just have to say GPK once more. These playmaking heroes, very much more of a team. He just single-handedly destroyed VG Gaming. It felt at the start of every fight. GPK's top GPK. Once target prioritization, it was just perfect. He could not have played any of these fights any better than he did here.
100% agreed. Top tier performance from him and his team.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Virtus Pro with a very, very impressive couple of games to close that series up. They'll take this one 2-1 against VG Gaming. Ladies and gentlemen, Virtus Pro with a very, very impressive couple of games to close that series up.
There we go. Virtus Pro's
2-1
coach's reaction as they win that game. And what an exciting series. What an exciting game specifically that was. And we can talk about VG in a second, but I want to concentrate first on the winners, on Virtus Pro. Lizard, I saw you were a bit excited. What did they do right?
I'm just so happy for them. Like, it's such a big victory for such a young team.
The youngest team at TI.
The youngest team at TI means so much for them. I'm not going to talk about the prize that they've just... Such a big victory for such a young team.
The youngest team at TI.
The youngest team at TI means so much for them. I'm not going to talk about the prize that they've just... Such a big victory for such a young team.
The youngest team at TI.
The youngest team at TI means so much for them. I'm not going to talk about the prize that they've just... Such a big victory for such a young team.
The youngest team at TI.
The youngest team at TI means so much for them. I'm not going to talk about the prize that they've just... Such a big victory for such a young team.
The youngest team at TI.
The youngest team at TI means so much for them. I'm not going to talk about the prize that they've just... Such a big victory for such a young team.
The youngest team at TI.
The youngest team at TI means so much for them. I'm not going to talk about the prize that they've just... Such a big victory for such a young team.
The youngest team at TI.
The youngest team at TI means so much for them. I'm not going to talk about the prize that they've just... Such a big victory for such a young team.
I do not want DB to have a good game. Gods, you want to jump in? Well, you can to this VP bandwagon.
I mean, it's just crazy. The youngest team at TI getting top 6 at their first ever international.
Gods, you want to
It's not like there's a couple of young players being, mentored and carried by experienced veterans. The youngest team at TI getting just 19, 20, 21-year-olds, and here they are, top 6. It's not like and they bounce back from that one game deficit. I think that was the question with VP is like, can they bounce back? Do they have the mental game? Both majors they did kind of poorly, and here they kind of, shrugged. there's demons.
And it's 100% them that showed mental fortitude in this best of three. Vici Gaming, they faltered a little bit. Those last couple of 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, looked very rough. They had a couple of questionable team fights. One hero after another running in.
Can you elaborate a bit? What team fight really stood out to you for Vici Gaming?
It was the bottom one that started everything off, wasn't it?
When he canceled the TP out?
Yeah, when he cancels the TP, and at first it looks good, and I could see the idea behind it because Snap, he was priming up the stun on the Ember Spirit, but he misses it. It's a split second. It's literally nothing. You miss that stun, the whole team fight goes wrong. And after that, Tidehunter, I thought that they would be relaxed because Tidehunter was playing with them in the jungle for a couple of minutes. You could feel like, and then they just kept on dying one by one. Every single fight that happened afterwards.
Yeah, they felt like they kept forcing it too much. Like they're like, okay, we're kind of behind. We have to go fight and do something. But that's not how Vici Gaming win games. That's not their strength. So
it wasn't composed.
After what happened at that bottom lane that Blizzard just mentioned, I feel like they were tilted. This is not the Vici Gaming. Usually they are the ones who make the right decisions when it comes to the mid and late game, especially the late game. They just crumble. I feel like they were tilted.
You feel like it might be actually due to their experience that they are the ones actually helping the right this time? Like they're so used to being that team that never gives up, that team that always has the consistency, and all of a sudden we see uncharacteristic mistakes and nerves actually get the better.
I mean, it's TI, so sometimes you just say go, your carry cancels the TP and probably screams go, and you're like, alright, we're staying, which results in pretty much the whole team getting wiped.
And while they are the more experienced team, they're not like huge TI veterans. Vici Gaming are still a relatively newer team for some of their, most of their players when it comes to playing TI. So, you look at Orius on this Vici team, while he's had a top 6, he's a top 8, Vici Gaming are still
we can say that internationally they can be considered veterans, but not at the international, right?
Right, yeah.
What do you think their coach is going to be telling them right now as they're preparing themselves for the lower brackets?
I feel there has to be something said about their draft as well. I think the Tidehunter in the game, in the last game, was really answered well by Virtus.pro, and that overall Virtus.pro's draft had a little bit of an edge. It wasn't only the gameplay, so maybe that's something that they can fix coming into the next series. But overall, just forget about it. Refresh. It's just another game. Just forget about it. It's
easier said than done.
Easier said, but you have to keep that PMA. You have to have good vibes. That's what helps you in at TI. You can't let yourself get overwhelmed by emotions.
Well, we're going to be looking at the other side, because I'm actually curious what Virtus.pro has to say. And we have Sir Action Slacks here with their offlaner, DM, to give us some inside information about this young and successful team.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, DM. A pleasure to have you. You know, first game at TI main stage, first time on that. What was it like? Did it live up to your expectations?
To be honest, to be honest, in this series we expected to play well. We did some. We changed a bit the draft and the understanding of the draft because some things went a bit rough for us in the first game. But then we even changed it for further game because like every single game you play, you're trying to improve, and they're getting mistakes fixed by every game. So I think third game we played the most signature draft of our team.
Yeah.
So it was just a pleasure to play it.
Absolutely. I mean, it felt like you guys were really comfortable, and that kind of seems like the air of your team in general, right?
To be honest, with this kind of draft, especially in third, we had like full chill zone.
Nice.
Like, well, obviously, you're glad when you're winning a good team and getting into top 5 TI, but the thing is, you're playing was really chilled.
And it seems like you guys, when you play, it's like friends, right? Is that a way that you guys recovered from that game one? Because game one was pretty rough. What was that like?
I think in game one, we had some kind of misplays, which led us into ways of playing map we don't want to, like, unfortunately. It's just, I can call it a bit maybe some pressure.
Yeah.
And then, game 2, we recovered, and also we did more pleasurable draft for us. But game 3, we did the best draft that is possible, I think. Like, couldn't imagine even best.
Yeah.
So it's a shout out to our coach. He did an amazing job.
Absolutely. All right, so you guys are inexperienced, but I don't mean that in a negative way. I feel like you look at the game a lot differently than everyone else. Do you think that that's an advantage against very established teams, or is it kind of hard to, keep up with all these different strats?
To be honest, for me, our current play style is really good because what I see from many games on TI, it's like one guy is farming their part of the map, getting some random pickoffs, and then second team is doing the same, and then one team has Tide, and the other team has Doom, and they're like, let's play the game at minute 45 in one single team fight, and then it will decide who will get rush and do a victory in the game. But I think playing game for getting a team fight at minute 45, where you can always fuck up with buttons, it's kinda not the way you want to play Dota. So I'm glad the way we play it. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we got to witness it. It's always good to see some new kids on the block, some Zoomers owning some Boomers. That's what we're all about here in video games, and that's what this team is. So thank you so much, my friend. It was a pleasure to watch, and we'll throw it right back to you. That was great.
And we're back with the bracket, so we can talk about the future matchups now that we know what they're going to be. VP's next opponent's going to be LGD. I mean, they got Vici. Can they beat LGD? Is this possible for them?
Possible. You gotta imagine LGD was, watching that interview and thinking, oh, that's your favorite draft. I see.
No. DM, he has the Zoomer tactics. He's just saying that. It's not necessarily
This is not their tactics at all. Like they just pulled it off out of nowhere. Now maybe he got a bit too hyped up after the series. You could hear it in his own voice, a bit shaky, and maybe he revealed a bit too much. We will have to see, if that's true or not. But as against the PSG LGD, I think their chances are high, and LGD shown that they can bleed today.
Well, you know who has also really high spirits right now? It's our actions like as NFE, as they will continue to reveal some of the short film contest participants.
Welcome back. We have more short film finalists to show you guys. Effie, are you ready for some magical movies?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right, we have Hall of the Hoof. You can follow a poor little courier on a terrifying mission as he tries to survive.
And then you can see the touching story of how Snap met Mortimer in Beatty and Mortimer.
Beautiful. And looks like we have The Waiting Game. You ever wonder what it's like to get chronoed by Faceless Void?
All the time. And last but not least, you can follow Spirit Breaker through his dark mission in The Last Interpreter.
All right, well, the time has come for movies. Take a look.
Smells like a battle cooking.
immortality.
It's not time.
Fresh meat.
Did this sun catch your eyes, faceless one?
Unholy cow. I'm every year impressed with what the community comes up with. It is everything. It looks amazing. I can't wait to see how the film contest will continue later on as well. And I'm going to be completely honest with you guys here. I'm supposed to throw to Tsunami, who's going to have a great piece, but I don't know where he is. If only we had vision.
Oh, it's so funny that you say that. Hello, friends. I didn't see you there. You get it? You get it. It's because of the wards. I've been doing a lot of thinking recently. We've got a lot of statistical tools at our disposal here at the International. And I learned this new metric recently. Sentry ward efficiency. Now, I don't know if you've ever even considered measuring this, but I'm sure it's happened in your games where you've been like, dude, I placed like 5 sentries. I don't see it. Are they even warding here? It happens to professional teams as well. Some more often than others. LGD, I want you to take a look at this. On average, it takes them 3 sentries to find an observer. On the other end of the spectrum, we've got Fnatic. It takes them 6.5 sentries on average within like the first 20 minutes of a game to find an observer ward. I'm fascinated by this. What does it mean? What are the implications of this? Well, if you continue to extrapolate from sentry ward efficiency, then you can see that average time of first tower. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what any of this means. I have crunched numbers time and time again on LGD. They just break statistical models. They are so damn good at the game. It's kind of tough to come up with any metric that doesn't make them look the best. And it's not just this TI. This is a storied organization. LGD has been at every single TI besides the first one. And they've got the numbers to prove it. They have played over 136 hours at the International. They have won 141 games at the International. Over 5,000 kills, over 200 Roche kills, over 1.8 million building damage. And this is just a fraction of the numbers that they put on the board. Now we just have to wonder, is this the time that they can finally get the Aegis? I don't know. We'll just have to see it to believe it. Back to you, Shiver.
Thank you. Ow, that looked like it hurt. Thank you very much, Tsunami.
Very smooth.
Very smooth. We got a fresh panel here too. I'm joined by T-Gov. We got ourselves Purge. We got ourselves Kyle, and we got ourselves a little swap on the games. And T-Gov, there's always a little bit of a vibe change when we go from upper to lower bracket, right?
Yo, someone's gonna get eliminated, Shiva. It's kind of hard. It's like you're excited for the Dota, but then you realize that someone's gonna be, removed from the tournament. So you can't be too happy, but you can be happy. It's kind of hard.
I think we can be happy, Kyle, because that means that this Dota is the best. For these teams that we're going to witness, the best that they can play. There's no holding back.
Oh, definitely not. And both teams no strangers to being here, right? They played for elimination before even making it to the tournament, as they both won their regional qualifier 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
TNC was up 2-0 on Fnatic. Spirit was down 2-1 to Empire, and yet they find themselves here.
They find themselves here indeed. Kev, real quick, most excited about what?
I'm just glad it's best of threes personally, because it is lower bracket, there's elimination, but I think nobody has to be disappointed from like one game.
All right, well, best of threes. We are lucky to get it, and we're lucky to get our teams as well. Let's welcome in Spirit and Fnatic. Team Fnatic is ready to take the stage here at the International 10. And yesterday we saw them survive the best of ones. They are ready to start their proper lower bracket run right now. This is, as an organization, their 8th international. But the last couple of TIs for Team Fnatic as an org were not great. They got eliminated 3 times in a row in those lower bracket best of ones. Not now, though. Not this squad. This squad seems to be gelling at the right time. But the same thing can potentially be said for their opponents. Also here for their second lower bracket round here on the main stage, the International 10. Team Spirit is a team of youngsters. We got ourselves 4 first-timers coming on the stage. But you know what? Normally you'd say, okay, you know what, that's gonna be pressure. Maybe there is pressure, but it propels Team Spirit to the next level. They have performed under pressure before. We saw them on the main stage of the Animajor as well, and they do good with this pressure. They know how to deal with it and how to make them even better. And of course, they have their coach Silent as well to help them out with if the pressure comes a little bit too much, as they do have a lot of experience in their coach for sure. Now, for Team Fnatic, this is a team that is fairly fresh as a 5 squad. They came together right before the qualifiers, or rather, they swapped some players in right before the qualifiers to create this specific 5-man. And we're going to get to know them a little bit better.
Welcome to another exciting round of rapid fire questions. I'm Dakota. I'm joined by Jabs of Team Fnatic. Hi, Jabs.
Hello.
Raven, are you ready for some fast trivia?
Let's do it. Never ready.
Well, you got to be ready, because here it comes. Who were the 2 teams that played in the grand final of the first TI?
It's Navi and I can't remember.
What 2 teams?
IG and Navi.
Not IG.
Oh.
TI1 is eHome and Navi.
That's right. Nailed it.
eHome versus Navi.
Very good. What cities did TI take place in?
Canada is country, right?
Canada's country. Where in Canada, do you even remember?
California.
Began with a V.
Vancouver.
You got it. Who's the funniest player on your team? Who's
Raven.
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 You're the funniest.
Yeah, I make myself laugh.
What was the last movie you watched?
Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi.
Oh, how would you like it?
It's just okay for me right now because we watch it here on Romania. So they speaking Chinese and they have the subtitle on Romania. So I didn't understand.
You watched the movie, you didn't understand anything.
Yeah. Yeah, we couldn't understand the Chinese part.
You couldn't understand.
Our manager had to translate it to me.
Oh, okay. Who's the best player on your team?
Me.
Who's the best player on your team?
Me.
Who's the best player on your team?
Me.
Who's the best player on your team?
DJ.
DJ. You know everyone else said themselves, right?
I love that. It says so much about this squad. Who's the best player on your team? And see, they instantly, most of them is like, me?
I mean, you kind of want your players to say that, right? Like,
True.
The support players might want to look towards their cause, right? But I think if you're trying to win TI, you want every single player to be confident in their own performance. So, honestly, I don't mind that answer, especially at TI.
All right, well, let's break this this matchup down. Purge, I want to know what if you're a new viewer and you might not be that familiar with Team Spirit or Team Fnatic, what's the main thing you want people to know about this matchup?
I personally think they're going to run at each other the entire game constantly.
Oh, nice.
They're both super aggressive teams. We saw it in the upper bracket for Team Spirit. I expect to see Fnatic do the same thing. Lots of confidence, lots of fighting. There's going to be a lot of people dying.
A lot of people die, and that's what we wake up for here this morning. That sounds real bad.
That sounds terrible.
You too.
In Dota 2, I mean, this lower bracket, it's brutal, Kyle. And these two teams are teams that, when they came to the main stage, they can perform under pressure. They can do it, both of them.
Yeah, this is one of the more interesting matchups, I think, so far in the lower bracket, just because I think they're like very similar in style, and also like expectations coming in. They're both probably in your underdog category, right? And one of these squads gets top 8 right off this BO3. So it'll really come down, I think, who's going to play with more confidence. I'm looking specifically at the mid lane. I think Toronto Tokyo was a bit off what I expected and what I witnessed from him in the DPC. And Shuend has been performing very well in the games that I've witnessed.
I mean, but Toronto Tokyo, they're like, he is the story of what DPC was meant to be, right? Like, remember season 1, we're talking about him, like, this pub player, like he's just making all these weird plays, like he's trying to go for kills and his team's not ready. And then each kind of season he evolved, and now at TI, like maybe it's a little bit nerves, but I still feel like he has improved immensely just because of like the DPC alone.
Yeah, both of these two teams have had a very different road in terms of how they dealt with the DPC. You know, the DPC season is coming in to bring a little bit more stability, but in the case of Fnatic Purge, it didn't quite work out at the start. So they had to make changes.
Yeah, they had a promising road potentially because they did so good in the first season, but season 2 they dropped the ball in a big way. And there was lots of regional competition, obviously that's really important, but they not only didn't qualify to the major, I don't think they got many points at all. They got 5th or something like that. So it's like, if you can't approach that, how are you supposed to do well?
I really wanted to key in on Jabs, we just saw him there, who asked to draft and retake a spot in the captain's chair before that critical qualifier to come to TI. He will be once again drafting and playing as the captain, but like a wild road, you know. Their mid player was their off laner, then they pick up Death. Jabs asks, and I also think it's funny, he's the only guy who didn't say himself as the best player, and that I think is an ideal captain's mentality, right? You got to believe in your boys.
And I think the story of Jabs and DJ is a really interesting one because they did have a little bit of an icky start to I guess if you want to call the season, like in September 2020, you know, this team, it looked like it was going to continue, for a little while, it looked like it was going to continue on without Jabs.
Sure, but I think you have to attribute that to how competitive the region is, right? Like,
for sure.
when you look at a roster and you see the player names, right, Jabs, DJ, and you're like, oh, cool, they've got to be, you know, top 2, top 3. And then suddenly these other teams just come swinging out of nowhere, right? Like, I feel that people just need to understand that SEA is a very deeply competitive region, and the reason why we didn't always see the same team go into the majors was because, you know, they had to fight up against 6, 7 other strong regions. I'd even compare it to like EU-esque in regards to kind of that depth of play.
Yeah, I think Team Spirit is, by the way, the poster boy of DPC. This is, I feel like, the way it's supposed to be. 4 of the members of Team Spirit were already together before the season. In December, they got signed by Team Spirit, formerly Yellow Submarine, by the way, for those familiar with the Eastern European Dota 2 scene. And the team, at the start of the season, Purge didn't look too hot, but we've seen steady growth as a 5 squad throughout the 6 months that we watched them.
Yeah, we really did. The first season, they had some wins, they had some losses. They went about equal wins as losses. And season 2, they were pretty consistently impressive. They still couldn't take it to VP. It still seemed like VP was absolutely untouchable in their region. But hey, with Team Spirit qualifying, I got really excited because I was like, you know, they maybe aren't the best, but they have some great potential. So happy to see them on the international stage.
Yeah, very important for the region as a whole as well, right, Kyle?
Yeah, indeed. And it's going to be very draft focused, I think. You know, we talked about Toronto Tokyo. This is a spirit extraordinaire. I think he will most likely be playing that throughout the series. His Kunk also shined once in the groups, but I'm looking at Fnatic as well. You know, the DJ Clockwork, I think, is a must ban, which is crazy because that hero just seems terrible on paper. But when he's playing it, suddenly the team just comes alive. It seems to activate their mentality.
Yeah, we have we saw there Silent, the coach of Team Spirit, and when you're talking about drafting, you have to talk about Silent. Every time there was a post-win interview with Team Spirit throughout the DPC season, and you asked him anything regarding the draft, and they were thankful to this guy right here because it is Silent that is the veteran. Is Silent that this is his first coaching gig, by the way, but he's been crushing it. He's been working with the team a lot, and they all are very happy to have him on board. He's of course supporting Miposhka, who was this is his second TI. I mean, it's not, he's a veteran in the scene, but it is only his second TI.
Yeah, again, it's crazy to think because I think you look at Eastern Europe, right? It's been kind of held down by certain orgs or players for so long, right? And that's why we mentioned Spirit being the surprise here, because Spirit being here, what team's not a TI? You know, it's Na'Vi, right? Like they had to beat some of the kind of the bigger names to get here, and that's why I think it's so not surprising, but it's so impressive that they are, right?
Yeah, you want to talk about the orgs for a little bit because I find it, you know, it's very exciting to see Fnatic, an organization that's been around for such a long time. This is their 8th international, as we already mentioned. Team Spirit have also been around for a long time, but this is their first international.
Yeah, well, I did a little bit of homework. I want to find out a bit more about Spirit. They formed in 2015 with Ramses. That was his, after he played with Scary Faces, right? And that team, they got to a major, but they actually came last, losing to OG back when they had Miracle and Fly and Notel. 2016 kept the same team, but they lost to Alliance at another major. And that was when Bulldog and Loader played on it. 2017, pushed in, tried getting F&G into the mix. You know, these are big names they're picking up every time. Didn't do so well. 2018, Beaver came in as well. Oliver, 9, you know, Tundra players, didn't work out. You then push over to 2019, RTW, Immersion, Misha. You know, Misha's now the coach of OG, Immersion, Monaco Gambit, Nigma. RTW was on Nigma. Like, every year, this team, Spirit, has tried to pick up, like, bigger names within the region. And it was only in 2020, after Yellow Submarine had started qualifying for the events that all their previous teams had failed to qualify with big names, they just swooped them up and went, no, please, become Spirit, and we'll try and form you in what you want to become. And it has been an incredible year for these young guys who have gone from just winning qualifiers to now at TI.
Yeah, probably a success story from the current iteration of the DPC, right? There's a big issue in Eastern Europe is the roster volatility, right? I think Solo played for 3 different teams through 2 seasons, 4 if you count that he's now here as an analyst. And these guys would have been prime poaching material in earlier styles. But, you know, you keep your points as a team. They were close. Had they, I think, been top 3 at the Any Major, they would have gone through directly on an invitation.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about Fnatic as well. We saw behind, standing in the booth, is Sunbi, also very experienced coach. I say also, but he is definitely one of the most experienced coaches, Purge.
Yeah, he was coach of Team Secret for a very long time there, for many, many years. So somewhere around there, it feels like forever, basically, but very experienced player. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Let's see what this series will bring us.
Versus Team Spirit. Game 1.
Welcome everybody to the draft between Fnatic and Team Spirit. Here with me today to talk about this draft are amazing people, AUI and Lizard. So gentlemen, there are 2 different kind of styles of drafting here. We have Team Spirit that kind of swaps up the roles a little bit, but we also have Fnatic that's a little more stable and plays for the long game. What do you think we're going to expect here from some bands?
From Fnatic, they're definitely more stable, and they have cut out their own niche in this tournament. The Nature's Prophet on position 4, the Clockwork 5, not really having a single playmaker, but an abundance of them. That's something that we can expect from them. Meanwhile, from Team Spirit, they've been picking some weirder heroes. TA, same like Fnatic on the safe lane. Some Arc Wardens here and there. Fnatic, Ricky, carry. It's going to be a very interesting first game.
Yeah, I think once you have a little bit of downtime from the group stage, it's when your team really solidifies what style you want to play over the main event. I think Fnatic, I was looking at their games, and usually what tells me a lot about how a team plays is their carry picks. If you look at Raven, he's playing hard carries, he's playing Weavers, he's playing Ursas, he's playing Razors, he's playing everything.
Whatever.
And while that flexibility can be really valuable as part of why Raven's such a good player, it also sort of tells me that they weren't able to really narrow down a style that they specifically wanted to play in the group stage.
One hero that they did play, but they didn't really do well with, 0% win rate actually, is Tiny. So Fnatic, they just ban it out instantly. Elder Titan, me and Al, we were talking about the most valuable first pick. I really think ET in the current meta is most likely first phase material. As it opens up your draft, it can go in any direction. Meanwhile, there is still IO left in the pool, which isn't, well, they're taking their time. It isn't really Team Spirit's playstyle.
And it's sort of weird that you take your time when you've had so much time to prepare for a match. You've probably gone through a lot of scenarios. This means that Fnatic did something that they did not expect, or they want to, like, someone thought of something a bit last minute. Okay, so it's IO. So as you were saying, I would say not the most comfortable support for them, but they can definitely play it, and they have played it.
Definitely.
I agree. I want to mention what you said about the ET. I think ET in this patch is sort of like a net worth deflator for the enemy carry, and the patch is very carry focused. So every time you have an ET in your draft early, it makes it so that it's harder for the enemy team to figure out which carry to pick for themselves.
You just take away all the armor, right, and Morphling suddenly becomes not a hero for your team.
Your carry will kill their carry in 2 seconds, no matter what the matchup
Meanwhile,
is.
Doom is still left in the pool, Luna is still left in the pool. I value these heroes quite highly against the Tidehunter. Maybe Luna a little bit more because you have an IO already on your team.
Can
Right?
you explain that matchup, the matchup with Luna and IO?
So when it comes to the Luna, the lane is one of the best, I believe, for the carry to offlane matchup, depending obviously on position 4. But you have a Giga Chad collapse on your side. You're getting that Mars in the first phase. There's plenty of carries, but collapse on Mars looks like no one else.
He's played this hero forever, and he's always looked good on it. Even this tournament where I think Mars had a fairly weak win rate, Collapse and Team Spirit, they went 3-2 with it, which was respectable. And even in the games he lost, like, he was getting these, like, crucial double spears, and it looked like he's carrying team events. You look at the fight recap, he's done 4K damage on Mars. It's like, what?
When I look at Fnatic as well, Collapse and praising him aside, as we're doing it, I feel every single panel. If I wanted to pick for them Nature's Prophet, Clockwork, and any sort of a spirit for your mid laner, and you're happy, you're satisfied, right? That's how I see Fnatic. Then off of that, you can build into whatever, because as I always stated, Raven plays anything. He even played that Ricky on that position of 1 role.
Yeah, merging with the crowd a bit.
Yeah.
I was actually a bit surprised that Spirit, they didn't go for the Storm Spirit. I feel like IO into Storm Spirit has been a fairly common opener, especially when you know that, I mean, Fnatic, they can play the Fury on other roles than 4, but most likely, it looks so good. Sort of like a Jab signature that it's going to be on him. I think Jabs in particular, I think he's ranked 4 on leaderboards right now. Like the guy who's called like IDC MMR, I play for fun, that's Jabs. He's playing support in pubs, and he's ranked 4. He's higher than any carry player in the world in MMR.
And he was the only one at the interview that said that it wasn't him.
Yeah.
Was it him?
No, he's crazy. As far as like support's individual skill goes, I think Jabs is up there. On top of that, on the other side of Team Spirit, I think you have Yatoro, who is the highest rated carry player in terms of MMR. Like the top 3, Quinn, GPK, nothing to say, dirty mid players, you know, abusing a little MMR.
He's actually playing carry and still winning MMR.
No, he's
still keeping
carry. He's one of the players I love playing with the most, actually. He'll pick some Faceless Void. He'll like, hey, you think you're about to TV mid? And
he's nice, right?
He's very nice. He's so pleasant to play with.
It's unbelievable for a carry player in pubs. It's something different, definitely.
I can see Team Spirit, they're sort of vaunted as like big fan favorites in the Eastern European community because their team chemistry and even their personalities is just so pleasant.
They're just friendly.
Can I ask you a question? So there are some really standard bans here like Monkey King Weaver, even Bane, who had a very good showing in the last series, but why Winter Wyvern?
So Winter Wyvern right here, when I look at it, is kind of strong versus IO. It's one of those heroes that can deal with relocates. I don't value it as highly, so it is a question mark a little bit for me too. Specifically, I would question the Bane even higher because it's a hero that has been first banned at the Dota Pit tournament recently, in the first phase that is, but has fallen off for everyone else but Team Spirit. They value these heroes very highly, and I think perhaps their own biases came into this ban.
I guess perhaps we'll see. Honestly, I don't have a good read on what they're going to pick next.
Yeah.
Like Winter Wyvern Bane bans, I guess that's some like single target physical core. That's like
Pretty
easy
much.
to isolate grip or to counter with the Code Embrace and the Curse. So
That's why the Sven and the Ursa bans, right, on the other
yeah,
side.
exactly. So I guess Fnatic had a better read of that. They instantly saw like, oh, they're banning something. I think something that's interesting about the draft is oftentimes your bans are more dependent on the other team's bans than their picks. Especially when you pick sort of like an open lineup like a IO Mars.
Yeah, and with the Lion ban, Storm Spirit was 100% coming.
That was an instant pick.
Knowing
right after the
Fnatic,
ban.
knowing how they want to be playing, if you see that Lion being banned out, you know Storm is coming. This is a hero that they're feeling very comfortable on. Pretty much any Spirit on that mid lane for them works, but Storm Spirit, I think, is slightly better than any other, and Chuan will have a lot of fun on.
I think in the last couple of matches we saw Storm go against his Spirit brother Ember, and Storm dominated the lane. I feel like getting that Storm is also sort of buffing up Jabs' Furion on position 4, because I feel like Furion on position 4 should be less comfortable playing against these Spirits that can kill him.
For sure. You don't want to be playing into any sort of hero that can jump you. We've seen Monkey King even struggle at the same way in the last series of VG versus VP. But there comes the Luna that we've talked about.
Yep.
Luna actually with the Disruptor. So it will be some IO. Do you think IO will lane with Luna? Do you think this will be Disruptor position 4?
I think IO Mars just giving him some sustain most likely, but I don't particularly have a good read on it. Like I think it'll depend a little bit on what carry they see. Like maybe it'll be what hero they can pressure, because Fnatic, they're not really showing their 5 or carry right now. They do have like basically 2 counter picks now as they are second pick. I want to mention that Fnatic, they banned the Sven and Ursa, as you're saying, because they banned Winter Wyvern and Bane. I always feel like, especially this tournament, when it comes down to it, in the lower bracket, a lot of carries are favoring Luna right now. She just, especially since the anime, yeah, it's so simple. Everything you do, you're lane strong, you farm fast, you team fight well, you have night vision, your timings are simple and easy. Everything is like in your control, so you can focus on dealing with the pressure and like making good calls.
Agree. I'm instantly reminded of the Naga versus the Luna matchup, that one game in which it's just so much harder to execute properly with the Naga. By the way, they banned out the TB on one side, and I'm wondering for Team Spirit, okay, you banned out the TB, but where is your reliable catch for the Storm Spirit? You have Mars, but he's not that reliable. The Glimpse as well, it works, but it's, what, are you going to be predicting every single time he zips in to
It's like
set up the static
you have
storm?
to, it's pretty hard because you can glimpse storm, he can't OT out of it, right? But you have to see him when he's 4 seconds from when he jumped, or he just jumped you on Disruptor. Like on paper, it often looks like Disruptor's really good against a lot of these Spirit heroes, but they actually just end up jumping and killing you. Yeah, it's not easy.
And the same thing can happen for this IO. So both of these supports kind of suffer from the same things, and that's heroes that can get on top of them easily, which is something that Fnatic has already got. They have the Storm and the Prophet to TP behind the enemy lines.
I like this Ogre Magi pick coming out, assumably for DJ on Fnatic. I think if you look at their heroes right now, Tidehunter, Storm, and Furion, they all take up a lot of farm. If you have heroes that soak up a lot of farm like that, I think the Ogre Magi is like, his frontline tankiness and his Bloodlust are just good to enable those heroes. On top of that, I feel like Fnatic, they play like such a freestyle, sometimes Jabs becomes an additional core, right? If you're Bloodlusting 4 heroes instead of 3 heroes, you know, it's just all the more effective.
And it's something very simple, right?
It is, it is.
He's
It's
going
stable.
to come into that lane, he's stable, he will bully you out, and later on in the game he doesn't require any farm at all because all of his teammates so far are looking fairly on the greedy side. Meanwhile, that Ricky gets out by Team Spirit. This is something that we mentioned earlier. They played it on position 1, and sometimes when there's one of these niche picks picked by a certain team, if you're playing at the lower bracket, you need to ban that out. You can't test your luck.
And I think they're also banning it because it is good versus heroes. A classic counter to Mars, you know, backstab versus Bulwark. Also, you have double
Blink
range
out of the
support.
arena as well,
Yeah,
right?
it's a carry that you give vision and then the Storm jumps, both your supports die. Luna, she's a good hero, she's solid, she's easy to play with, but she's not really that. I mean, she sort of is a 1v5, but she's not. I don't know how to particularly word it. It's like you take all the farm on the map, but you can't fight the enemy alone. Like, you're more of a frontline hero. We saw in the EG versus Elephant series.
You want to congregate around her, converge, and go take objectives.
Yeah, because she gets super tanky because she's built so many items. Like in the EG Elephant series, they were all inning Arteezy, and his team would win every fight because that's what they were using his net worth for. It's the same thing here. Like, if Ricky was able to scout all his team and they killed them all, I don't think Luna can do it the other way, where all her team's dead and she's left alive.
That's just the Queen of Pain. Perhaps expected Void Spirit to be banned out, they go with the Ember Spirit. So basically what they needed is a hero that can go in first that also brings a little bit of control. Ember Spirit is probably that one. We've seen this matchup throughout the day multiple times already, and Ember has done actually extremely well at the tournament. I think this might even be a hidden strongest spirit out of the three.
I think Ember's, honestly, he's my favorite hero of the tournament. I do think that today specifically, Storm has had really good lanes versus Ember, but we saw in the LGD series, Ember's timings and like the pace of the game you can play, one mistake from the Storm team, and he can just completely take over the game. On the other hand, in the VP series, like GPK, that was a rough laning phase into some rough Ember gameplay, right?
I really don't know what happened in that
GPK's
matchup.
rank 1 for a reason, right? Yeah.
The time is going down, though. Who is their last pick?
It's Morphling.
Is that a good pick?
Okay, so Morphling, at least straight off the bat versus Ember, always used to be good. You turn into the Ember, you bring a lot of control to... That was usually on the mid lane matchup, however, but still, it's all right.
They also don't have a natural Spirit Vessel carrier. Like, I don't think Io or Mars really want to buy it. I actually really like Luna in the Luna versus Morphling matchup just because you have that magical burst. But Luna's recently have gone for more of a farming build. Eventually, you do get up that magic damage. It's probably a fine pick. But I'm a bit afraid, like, if Storm doesn't have a good game, like, he has to do well in the lane in order to control tempo this game, because I don't think Tidehunter and Morphling are doing that.
It's a little bit more on the greedier side of Fnatic. If the lanes don't go too well, they'll have to resort on Jabs and his split-pushing capabilities to actually come back into the game.
It is greedy, but if I've seen anything from Jazz Fearon, I feel like they use his knowledge and prowess on the hero in order to enable the hero that they need to work. So maybe this game we'll see some Ogres walking to mid, some Fearon TPN, and a collapse on the Ember that's already losing his lane. I wouldn't say that Io Disruptor are the best supports to really help. You know, it's long gone the days of the support Io, he TPs in, bottlers or carry once, they heal 600 HP. It's not the same hero. You're rushing some mech, you're not really that strong. If they can manage to collapse on Ember, Fnatic's a team that opens up the map quickly and open up the map with the mid tower. I think their draft can work really well.
So Lizard, what draft do you think on paper, all things
I'll go with the classic twist. Stories have been told about Raven's Morphling. In SCA, this is probably the best player on the hero. So player-to-hero matchup works really well for Fnatic. Storm Spirit on the mid lane as well. However, at the same time, I feel the complexity is on Team Spirit's side. It's much easier for them to execute this draft. I think it's very easy to get some farm on that Luna, converge together, and start taking objectives.
But if you were to pick one team, which draft would you put above the other?
Oh, Team Spirit, yeah.
Okay. Well, we will see. But AUI, what do you think?
I really like Fnatic's chances in this game. For me, like, I don't know, just something about Jabs' Fearon and being able to snowball a Storm sounds good.
It's hard to go against it.
Yeah.
All right, well, we will see how this game plays out. But first, an interview with Jake and Sunby.
Thank you very much. Hello. I am here with Sunby, coach of Fnatic. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great.
Fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about that draft. People have been saying that this Tidehunter is a bit of a trap, that teams are letting other teams pick it and then falling into their spider web of lies. How are you feeling about Tide? You feeling confident? No trap, right?
I mean, we like the hero. I think it's a good hero. If you don't win with it, is it the hero or the execution? I don't know. But we like it.
All right. Glad to know that. What do you think? Any surprises in that draft? Were you guys going to pick Ricky? I saw they banned that last.
Ricky is in our arsenal. Is there any surprises? No, not really. That guy does have a very good Mars, so we'll see how that goes.
All right, well, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for giving us a little bit of insight, and have a fantastic time in your game. We will throw it back to you.
Thank you so much, Jake, and Sunby throwing it out there. He's got a pretty good Mars trend.
Yeah, wow.
We've seen it.
Shocking. Turns out coaches do their research, and they're well aware that he's perhaps, I mean, that's the second time now that he's actually been complimented by his opponent on his Mars play. So I hope they're showing Collapse these interviews after.
I mean, they keep on giving it to him, though, so who knows?
True, not much of a compliment, is it?
No.
Yeah, he's really, really good. You know,
I
they're just
swear,
telling some lies
guys.
to this guy.
But we'll see how it ends up going. As they already are into this game, we did have a short pause at the start, which means we get no gameplay at all right into that one. I'm really curious to see how this whole matchup works out with, you know, getting, again, the Nature's Prophet on jabs. He's looked so impressive on it in many of the games that we've seen, blocking out camps, and particularly when you're playing against this Io Luna, the hero that wants to stack up those Ancients. It's going to be annoying.
Yeah, and it goes the whole game, too. It's not just like this early game sort of acceleration and ramp up that you're preventing on the Luna by stopping those Ancient stacks. It's also just the full-out vision game throughout the match, trying to figure out exactly, like, you know, where should we smoke to right now, right? You know, or just like catching some random creep wave and delaying it to mess with some sort of a push you might be going for somewhere else on the map. Just very good at changing the game state from this hero, and truly a very unique hero movement-wise. And on top of that, they have the other hero with the most freedom of movement in the entire game in Storm Spirit.
Not bad at all if that's the thing that you're trying to prioritize. Is we do see the movement out onto those bounty runes, and it looks like it's going to end up being 3 for Team Spirit, actually, as Collapse able to pick up both of those up on the top side of the map. Not bad at all, not bad at all. And heading out to the lanes, already they're going to have the Io dual lane together up there on the top side with the Mars.
Oh, look at Jabs down here. Look at this damage with the Blyson. Oh, yeah. Getting in there. Unfortunately, Luna, she's a little bit fast, so she won't be punished quite as hard as others. Also didn't get a creep block off. That could have been pretty good, but still, that's free right there.
Can see now as we take a look at all 3 of these lanes. Chuan playing against Toronto Tokyo, and the panel talked about this already. The sort of woes that we saw in the laning stage the other day, some of that felt like, you know, maybe potentially nerves out on the big stage or what have you. Don't expect to see a sort of outplay that significantly in this one unless things go pretty tragically in the early going for Toronto Tokyo.
Yeah, we'll hope it's not like last series. That is for sure. If you're going for the Ember squad here. I believe the last time that we watched Fnatic here in their lower bracket match versus Undying, they also had the Nature's Prophet, and they're playing it versus this Disruptor too, I think. Or at least we've definitely seen this before, but
yeah.
Nature's Prophet into Disruptor, not a great time. There's not a whole lot you can do, obviously. You can throw out some Thunder Strikes, try to reduce the treants, but they're just so tanky as well. You know, if you don't have that Ench counter to steal away the treants, it can be a very hard time trying to deal with it.
Right, and I think that what we saw before was that they were able to kind of go all in with, like, you know, a Thunder Strike and then also the Loosen Beam. And there's a little bit of a step
because it was the core.
Exactly.
In our previous match, that was actually one of our other squads with the Nature's Prophet.
But so far, so good. 10-1 on the Ember and 9-2 for the Storm Spirit. But everything looking fairly standard as far as the lanes are concerned. Toronto Tokyo here is going to get a stack on the small camp. No early movement, or actually, never mind, he's not. He's just going over to get the rune. Don't worry.
It's okay. At least he has a small camp, right? You know, they've gone over, they've blocked off tunes, so very annoying to deal with. This is a great way to shut down a storm early.
Anything that you can to slow down that snowball that we've seen so often. And particularly, you know, a couple of these heroes at various points have looked really strong together. You get a little bit of a half pull there by DJ.
Now, will he go for the high ground sentry? He's come back first. This will be very tense here, because you can cover the whole camp from the high ground sentry, and if he goes for the pillar sentry from June, he's going to get that Obs ward for free, too. Yeah. Really nice.
You can see Jabs, nice move over there to sneak away the water rune, and Toronto Tokyo going to take a bit of a beating. But still, should be perfectly fine with that. That's one of the strengths, though, obviously, of this Nature's Prophet. You can see he's also leaving the one treant up on the high ground to try and block out and kill the bounty rune. You can see over there by
though too.
Yeah, Toronto not able to do it.
Yeah, couldn't get it in time though. Toronto gets there, so very nicely done. And also losing the courier. So now down to the bottom lane goes Jabs to try and give a little bit more assistance over to Death, but Death just doing kind of fine. Is that nice spear up top, but
yeah, well played. Pushes him back in afterwards, and DJ. That's going to be first blood drawn by Mira. Not bad at all. Yeah, he's pretty good on Mars.
Yeah, it turns out. Very tough lane for an Ogre, obviously a pretty big target. This Ogre Magi sort of waddles around, but you're hoping to essentially win the war of attrition when you play Ogre in lane, and going into an Io and a pretty tanky hero in the Mars can be a bit difficult. especially because Mars tends to rely on like mana issues and should have a little bit more to spam with the help of Mira.
True. As we see Toronto Tokyo force back a little bit, Jun holding on to that mid lane. And yeah, the empty bottles for both of them will be another water rune that spawns, but not sure. Ember is actually going to have to walk all the way back home. So definitely a good start here for the Storm Spirit.
Chaps is just so annoying too.
Absolutely. It's just what he does, man.
Oh, don't watch that. Only the one tree.
That's fine.
It's okay, 50% accuracy, for now at least.
So can he actually get a courier snipe here as he's going to walk up towards the top spot?
Oh, that would be the Soul Ring kill too. That would have been so bad, actually.
Wow, just a little bit late, but will still be able to find the kill on the courier, and now going to try and get a little bit fresh up top. Get some help onto this lane. If he's not careful though, Collapse could maybe just turn onto both of them. You can see.
I feel like they need this tri-lane right now because Soul Ring IO with this Mars feels very frightening. There's just so much spam.
Yeah. In fact, just chasing Raven down, keeping that pressure on to the Morph lane. Only 14 CS so far. Getting doubled up right now by the Mars. And, I mean, this is why people don't give it to him. He's deadly. DJ? Gonna get zoned out also. And yeah, this top lane is just a little bit of a bully session that we got coming here from Team Spirit. They were at least able to get this pull off, which Collapse is now afterwards gonna kill off these large camp as well. But it gives a little bit of free time to Raven.
Down bottom, jabs. Gets turned on by Miposhka, but they put it right back onto him with the gush and the anchor smash.
Able to get the kill onto jabs. Well played. So far, so good for Spirit. Doing very well out of the laning stage. And I mean, even Ember, who's, you know, the one that's sort of being bullied a little bit here, is not having a terrible time.
Yeah, the best part is I feel like they're just sort of holding the line and then punishing when there's actual aggression coming out, like getting that first spear back towards the tier 1 tower top, and then there, when they're trying to bully onto the Disruptor, you manage to turn that back around for the kill on the jabs.
Big move in now.
And they turn it once more.
Level 6 is off the mark. They don't have it for Toronto Tokyo, and so he's going to get chased down, but Mira comes in at the last second, able to save his life. And the healing salve going means Toronto Tokyo will live through all that.
It's very good to be proactive in Dota, but that's 3 times now where they're just not getting their mission completed, right?
Yeah.
You're not getting the kill onto the Ember. Sure, you're punishing and you force a rotation, but that was 3 heroes coming in from Fnatic, and Mira relatively simply able to just get there and make the save without really forcing his allies to miss out on very much.
It just looks so clean right now from Team Spirit. Like, every move that they're making is either finding what they want for the kill or salvaging something that Fnatic is trying to make into a little bit of a disaster for him. See that movement over from Disruptor, smoke up and not able, or rather the Invis rune taken, and now is going to come and check out the Storm. Can they do anything there? Doesn't look like it. So back to the races. Jun's gonna head back home, maybe look for that 8-minute rune to get a little bit active, but already done with the armlet on freaking Mars. Collapse is very large.
I mean, we got a trend going here, huh?
Right?
Lots of armlets popping off here lately in the off lane, and sort of treating it like a little mini Midas, perhaps, in a sense of just like, you know, I'm getting off to a really good start. Maybe I don't need my initiation item as early. I want to be a little bit greedier.
Right.
But there is a ton of synergy, of course, when you have an IO, right? It's just going to be better than normal, just because you're like focusing more on sustain and living longer in the engagements. You know, one good toggle could be that extra save that comes off in the team fight too, or just that little bit of HP that you can help for the IO to like push you over into future survivability.
It's definitely a little bit of a different look. It's something that's, like you said, been gaining popularity as Juen back behind the tier 1 tower. They're going to try and cut this wave and get some pressure onto mid, as Ember is nowhere to be found for the moment. He's off on the bottom side.
Maybe this is what those offlane IOs needed. Maybe this is what they were missing, you know?
A real offlaner with them? What are you talking about there?
Well, I meant an armlet, but that would also go pretty well too, I suppose.
That's fair. Well, Toronto Tokyo has completely abandoned mid, as that is definitely necessary. And in the meantime, Miposhka is soaking up a lot of experience on this Disruptor, almost level 6 now, as they're going to do another pull through. Looks like they're going to catch onto that range creep, but this is going to be some pretty solid pressure onto this tower if they want to keep it up.
Disruptor, not the hero you think of for trying to like hold back these towers, right? Especially with a 1-3-1 build, you're thinking of like Winter Wyverns and everything, but the fact that they're not jumping Fnatic just maybe a bit hesitant with some of the earlier plays not working out. I prefer this instead, just moving to the camp and sort of messing around with Toronto Tokyo.
Careful.
He's got a haste rune, right? It's the rune of invincibility.
True enough.
No one's ever been punished by getting a little bit too ahead of themselves with a haste rune.
Never. Not even one time. But yeah, 8 minutes, so only 2 kills, but a 2,000 gold lead. As Team Spirit have just been a little bit more efficient around the map. But Fnatic, wanting to get a little bit of something going for themselves, are going to pressure and take that bottom tier 1 tower.
Great play, right? Luna's hitting Ancients, you take a tower. That's essentially the trade here. Now they want to get their own pressure into the top lane, but you gotta imagine Raven's got help coming, right?
I mean,
right?
I think so.
Does he need help? You know, Raven's got this by himself.
Waveform, TP out. Oh, but nothing to break the TP. So that is Arena used. Spear still on cooldown. Team Spirit.
I love the confidence from his supports. And DJ just sitting down there. TP's probably, you need help him there? No. No, I'm okay.
And instead, it's Death that comes in. So the Tidehunter is just going to be a big old watermelon right in front of him and say, come and deal with me. You can't.
Yeah, perfect swap up here of the lanes for Fnatic. Things looking better. You know, still though, Team Spirit holding the lead despite being down a tower. They don't look too shook quite yet. You got to imagine that Collapse would love to get himself a kill here on this Mars once that arena's back up.
And it's going to be a DD. Toronto Tokyo able to get that one a little bit quicker on the fingers. That is a kill rune if things break right for Team Spirit.
Well, you gotta imagine Death would love to try and go for a play. Like, he's a Storm Spirit and a Nature's Prophet. You would think that you could try and go for a kill onto Mira, right? They have this Ob sitting on top of them. They spot the fact they're just sort of lurking nearby. Feels like a prime opportunity, but at the same time, you know, Jabs is hitting Waves bottom. We've got Raven hitting Ancients, and Jurin's going back to the base, grab some mana. So we'll see if that's the play. Looks like he actually wants to go outpost and then come mid, perhaps.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it still feels like the lead is growing
DJ.
in spite of that, but yeah, they're going to get
a little deep.
And that's going to be a quick and easy punish there for Team Spirit as they run down the Ogre, find themselves another kill.
Hey, he's taunting away, you know?
Yeah, he's happy about it.
He saw what was coming, gives a little laugh, like, yeah, all right, space for my team. I like this play from Collapse, though. Can't go for kills, goes for your stacks. Heads in to farm up some of these neutrals that Chuan was looking for.
A bit of a battle going on for these ones here, and he's thinking about it, wants to jump.
They're smoking
now
towards.
Namira with Death coming in also, Jabs there, the jump away, tries to live, and Collapse will get out, but they lose the IO.
Oh, so I think Team Spirit were thinking about contesting that. They'd actually smoked up Yadoro as well as Maposhka, and we're sort of moving that way, but it looks like Collapse just made the call, like, no, not worth. Like, don't bother coming.
Yeah.
Now, Mira makes some space. He TP's out. Much like DJ being sacrificed, they'll allow Mira to fall for the benefit of the squad.
Still standing tall, feeling comfy with where things are at, it looks like, on Team Spirit. As it's just that slight lead that has not ballooned out yet. But the glimpse back in the Static Storm, able to pull and kill potentially this Storm Spirit. A nice jump, but no! He gets the zip away and able to dodge that last hit. The Thunderstrike, but there's the relocate coming in, trying to find Chuan. Can they get him though? Collapse the spear, not quite gonna be on the mark. Mira, they walk in. The Ravage to save. Surely no! He gets away! Are you kidding me? Unreal. Toronto Tokyo even lurking in the area, wants to find something in exchange for all this with the invis, but
he can have a courier. It turns out that's what he wants.
Wow.
It's a very small prize after what looked like a mid kill. Yeah, unbelievable stuff. Great saves coming in there from the team. And it just feels like Fnatic finally getting themselves their own stifling of some moves there as Team Spirit trying to go for the plays. Still a healthy lead here, 3 to 4K-ish net worth for Team Spirit. And Yadoro just making his way through the jungle here on this Luna. Top of the last hits, top of the net worth, and you know, to see Collapse so close behind as well. Having an absolutely fantastic game for 2 of the cores here on Team Spirit.
He really does feel like he's been the one that's been able to set that tempo pretty consistently as the Spear's going to come out now onto Death.
Stand back, I'm hitting the tower.
Move
out of the way.
And Death is slowly but steadily getting whittled down. Still 80 seconds before Ravage is up, and he has to actually back out of there. They can't fully commit for the kill, but if he sticks around, he will die. So waddling is a little bit OP for the Tidehunter, as he will walk away from them all.
Oh, they're going to clear clear up the vision around here first. Again, just sort of playing the front line here for Yatoro, like the way that they're moving across the map, sort of having to balance out any potential smoke ganks that could come towards their precious Luna. Just continues to rise there. I imagine Fnatic just looking for that first big item, particularly the Orchid for Chun was being looked at here, and has one of the Oblivion staffs done, and then of course have an opportunity to perhaps kill Toronto Tokyo. Toronto Tokyo though is going straight for the BKB this game after the Falcon Blade.
And we saw something also as that was going on mid. Jabs was able to sneak in one little treant that Yatoro killed, but it blocked the Ancients before that ended up happening. So
classic Jabs.
I mean, he keeps on putting in just like they ran one treant in there, and now Yatoro's farming in a little bit of a more dangerous position, but a nice play to do that economic damage where you can on Jabs.
That's right. I mean, that was the main punish that we saw in the best game that Jabs had on the Nature's Prophet when he was blocking out the Ancients constantly. I believe it was a Sven, but just kept being forced into the top lane and having to farm up there. And we'll have a farmer down here.
He just gets out.
See ya.
Wow, no pull or no nothing. I'm not sure what it was, but they were able to get away on Toronto Tokyo. Now, looking for some counterplay. Jabs, been very annoying to play against.
Has no TP scroll, and also just TP'd up here, so.
And again, sending in those treants to block out the Ancients. He's going to do it again to him. So the economic damage that this does and denying the bounty rune.
I love it.
I mean, this is just what's
Meanwhile,
so annoying
they're
about
under vision
Zero.
as well in their jungle.
Looking for the jump right away onto Collapse. Death afterwards with the Ravage. Gonna catch him. Killa, maybe? Possibly?
Mira?
Yeah, they got him. And Mira falls to boot. Fnatic making the moves.
Yeah, couldn't find the relocate there. Too many heroes around. I wasn't confident they'd be able to succeed in it. Excellent punish there. Staying back onto the tower from Jabs and then having that very defensive vision. Sort of knowing, I think, that Team Spirit want to play in this area, right? Because you're forcing them out of their triangle. You're not allowing Yatoro to be in there, so he's going to have to play further up on the map on the Luna, which means you have to play further up as his allies to help protect that Luna. And you know that this Mars wants kills. You know he's bloodthirsty.
And look again who it is.
I'm so glad this is happening on the main stage, because in group stage, I felt like I was going insane watching this.
Look at this.
It's unbelievably annoying.
And nobody, I mean, this is the thing, right? You try and play Dota to be so efficient, which means that nobody's supposed to be there as the camps are spawning, because they're supposed to be farming somewhere else. And then you show up and it's like, oh no, the gold's gone. The hell else are we supposed to do?
This must just break a carry player's heart. You know, they got all their little spreadsheets. Yeah, I love how he pings it too. And then look,
they're checking for wards.
Right, so there's a ward spot back there where you can break a tree and plant a sentry, and the only way to see it is those vision type spells.
Oh man.
My Poshka's gotta be like, dude, I promise you, there is no sentry in there.
So frustrating for Team Spirit, and this is the punish. The Nature's Prophet getting picked.
I swear, even if they lose this game on Fnatic, like I feel like this has got to be so taxing to play against.
Hello again.
They need a theme song or something at this point.
They're just there. And like, you know, Team Spirit, they're up on the other side of the map trying to make things happen, and in the meantime, they're just passively
here we go, though. That's an Orchid reveal.
This would be a good kill if they can get it, and it looks like they will. Toronto Tokyo goes down. Fnatic making these plays.
We got a very dangerous 1,000 gold to farm here for an Ember Spirit, when a Storm is going to be roaming the map looking for your head. That Orchid always going to be prepared and searching for you, I am quite sure.
Close to the BKB.
Oh,
but look at this. Right away. Getting a little bit of retribution.
That ward, ladies and gentlemen, making it easy. Even having the sentry just so close by to catch that Obs ward. But, you know, the vision there from Chun obviously not enough to save him.
Yeah, and Jabs just going to TP out of that one. The Collapse relocate back with Mira to the bottom side of the map. And again, Toro not to be dissuaded from keeping the pressure on and now farming into their jungle potentially. Has the BKB. Where do we go from here?
Well, I imagine Team Spirit are going to try and bait out Toronto Tokyo. Might see a play like that where you can see them now, like Collapse and Mira are kind of like shadowing Toronto Tokyo on the map because they have the BKB on Collapse. So perhaps hoping that a similar jump play will be attempted there from Fnatic, and they'll look for the punish once the Storm's back up. But very deep vision here from Fnatic, spotting out actually all the movements lately from Mira and Collapse. Over on the right-hand side of the mid lane, they had wards there. Now they just moved through the triangle. That was also just spotted again. So they should have a very good idea of the current game plan here from Team Spirit, and it involves the death of that top tier 2 tower and taking over your jungle.
You can see that these Treants also in on that vision game. They're going to pull him back in now. Catch on the jabs, caught onto a tree, and killed off. So Team Spirit tired of the shenanigans and wanting to keep the pressure on, take down this tier 2 tower, turn to the outpost.
Yeah, I doubt this glyph will end up stopping their assault here. So as you said, right on through. And big goals attained here for Team Spirit. Now instantly TPing down to that bottom lane as well. Collapse coming down here. Relocate as well with the glimpse.
Pulls him in, right in to bring him down as they turn onto death. Gonna find that kill. There's a lot of fancy stuff going on by Fnatic, but Team Spirit just easy peasy. Take it down with the Luna IO.
Well, we got a lot of BKBs being worked on this game. We're trying to get as many kills in as we can before they're out here. About 400 gold away there for the Tidehunter as well. So some early BKBs pretty much for everybody in this game. And that means that if we head into that mid and late game, we're going to be having to keep a careful eye on a lot of these timings.
Something to watch for sure. Team Spirit, they don't want to get to that late game necessarily. If they can keep this going, go right into Roche. It is going to be scouted. And obviously with the Storm Spirit, with the Tidehunter coming back up soon, can Team Spirit do this in time? I mean, they know it's happening.
Fine.
Yeah, okay.
No, thank you, says Fnatic. It's Death. Don't bring him over.
They're thinking about going.
Tempted.
They're thinking about going. They're going to be a little bit too late though, and now they walk right into this one. If he's not careful, might end up getting chased down and killed. Does have Ravage still. The glimpse back in. Immediately caught the Ravage used by BKB in response. Team Spirit, they're too strong. Mira, silence, chased down, but they can't find that finish. So the trade ends up being a 1-for-1, but Ravage used.
Yeah, Ravage used.
And another one afterwards. DJ pulled back in by the glimpse, and Jabs also. Jabs.
Oh, he's so slow.
Throws out the Sprout, doesn't have anywhere left to go, and he too will fall. Team Spirit having none of the shenanigans.
All that from a Roche Fnatic even knew was going on, but that temptation to contest. You have the Storm, you have the Ravage, you think, oh, but what if we could just, get in there and grab the Aegis? Chuan's like, I've done this. We did a group stage. It was awesome. I zipped right through. I killed Roche. I took an Aegis. Not so much this time.
Unfortunately, wasn't there in time to be able to go for that steal. And now Team Spirit, again, coming down from that upper bracket, looking to try and go up game number 1 in this best-of-3 elimination match. A 6,000 gold lead. And time and again, we're seeing this Luna pay dividends.
Well, they want to keep the pressure up here with the Aegis smoking up. That's a Daedalus.
That's a big item.
That's a lot of damage.
15,000 net worth right now on this Luna.
And that arena and the Ember, like the chase down potential as well as the setup for the relocate, there's just so much time, It's going to be very hard to get away. The BKB's here for Tide, though.
Oh, they're coming down bottom.
They had a good idea of this, too. Now, he does have TP. He has the Essence Ring as well. This is one tough Storm to get. Jabs also using his ward to TP in here.
And instead trying to get aggro. Able to find a kill, but does it come at a cost to relocate in? Chuan going to fall. Jabs afterwards also in the dirt.
I feel like Chuan's just like, oh, there was a tree there, right by that little signpost. Very unfortunate.
Thinking about chasing this now with the relocate. They couldn't take the outpost in time. Has to turn into the IO to tether away. Oh, man. That was the skin of his teeth there.
That's a pretty quick move.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, to be fair, he knew the IO was coming for a while.
True,
yeah.
true.
Nonetheless, impressive stuff.
Well, Fnatic this time trying to find little pickoffs during an Aegis timing, hoping that you can utilize that time to, sort of delay your opponent from pushing as a single, 5-man blob. They get punished, going for it, using their own wards, and now, of course, with the Storm being dead, and now this Aegis having been there for a while, your vision starts to decay in these situations, like for Team Fnatic, because they just haven't been across the river in a while. They got one ward left. It's going to expire soon, so now the ward's going to get very defensive here, and with the range of initiation that you have on the side of Team Spirit, sometimes these defensive wards, they're not very helpful if there's any vision ahead of the path here for Team Spirit. I imagine they're going to look for some really nice deep wards. Mapochka's got 3 sentries and 2 obs, so goes for one pretty deep in the triangle on a pillar, though, so may get dewarded. Would love to get one on the other side of the map, too.
this is the position where they're going to try and keep that pressure on like you're talking about. And you can see at the same time, Jabs getting going on. Hello, hello. It was nice of you to give that one away, but the ward drop down won't be enough to keep them alive.
And even on a defensive ward on the high ground there from Fnatic to try and help against these situations, just so quick from Spirit, just not worried about a turnaround play. Really, of course, you have the Aegis and everything, not worried that he's going to TP out before you get there. They just want to grab that free pick and try and get some revenge on everything he was up to with their Ancients.
Too true. 8,000 gold lead now. Fnatic have done a good job of being able to dodge some of these fights, but again, Toronto Tokyo just recognizing danger, zips out of there the last second. So Fnatic still dropping down bit by bit in net worth, but it is not necessarily the end of the world for them.
They're finding very small trades across the map, and they are moving into these BKBs. And we've had several games now at TI where the BKBs really turn things around, but this one's not free.
Looking for it, jump, but saved immediately. Collapse, now turns onto the Storm, takes him down, no buyback, 50 seconds, and just like this, the game is blown completely open. Fnatic, they've got to defend without their Storm. Another 40 seconds, Itoro keeping himself alive as they take down another DJ to fall. Has to buy back on the Ogre, and if you look, just hero after hero keeps on dying from Fnatic. Jabs is gonna drop, they keep on turning on to more. Toronto Tokyo, this is an absolute slaughter as they find a boat, triple kill for Collapse. Somebody make it stop. GG, they're done.
They just let it go. 25 minutes, Team Spirit. Right through this game, right through those BKBs. They spent the whole game building BKBs. They didn't even get to use them.
Unbelievable. That was one of the most dominant handlings that we've seen so far. And in the lower bracket, Team Spirit looking like a team to watch out for. And Fnatic, on the other hand, I feel like you're just going to need to go back to the drawing board a little bit here and see where they go from this point forward. But first game going to Team Spirit.
Well, that's a pretty tough loss here for Fnatic. I feel like there are a lot of good signs, right? We talk about like the nuisance of Jabs and the way he's able to just like move these trains around and everything. But at a certain point, you obviously need to succeed on some of your plays, and that was a pretty common theme where Team Spirit were like sort of turning around a lot of the earlier attempts there from Fnatic, and then into the mid game, very aggressive map movements there from Team Spirit as they just sort of swept on in there and captured all your resources.
Yeah, and it felt like there was, these couple of moments where things were starting to go good, and then eventually the BKBs came online for the Luna. Toro was basically never touched throughout that game. 8-0 and 8 on a Luna is a really impressive feat. And I guess that, maybe thinking about trying to take Team Spirit out of their comfort zone might be what they need to go for here, and possibly think about removing that Collapse Mars.
I think he's a very easy one to look at too with Collapse on the Mars, but I think Maposhka as well played fantastic on the Disruptor. Like going for all that vision, how many of the pickoffs onto the Tide early before the BKBs, he's one of the reasons why they're forcing that item build to be rushed out so quickly. So it's not a single hero answer here, I don't think.
Well, we'll see if anybody else has some answers. We'll head on back to the panel, let them break that one down.
Thank you very much, Lyrical and Trenta. Lots of breakdown in that first game of the best of 3 elimination series between Team Spirit and Fnatic. Team Spirit taking game 1. I'm here with Kyle, Purge, and T-Gov, and we are going to try to break this game down. And I like what Trent says about Miposhka being one of the MVPs on this Disruptor, but I do want to start by talking about the Mars because, frankly, Kyle, that is the Collapse hero, his star hero. And we heard Sunby say it in the interview, too.
Yeah, it's not just the hero even, it's this armlet build. It is 75 damage when activated on strength heroes. 15 base, 25 strength, 35 damage for 2,500 gold. Like, it's so value. You have to sustain from your Wisp, and you compare that to the enemy Tide who's got a hood. The offensive damage impact is just...
It's a big difference, yeah. Like, and it's not just that Collapse is playing; it's that he also has an IO. So, like, if it was a normal laning stage against a Morphling, he'd do fine, but maybe not crush as hard. But you could really tell that he's experienced playing the combo. Miro plays IO in pubs very often, so his comfortableness, just like going through clearing triple stack, like going from camp to camp, like he was ready for that.
Yeah, and for me, it's the fact that Spirit, this is something that IG actually run at the tail end of the group stage. They beat OG with JT on the Mars, with the IO, exact same build with the Armlet, and Collapse 6 days ago, he also played IO Mars, but did not do the Armlet build. So this is one of those things where a team at TI is still looking at everyone else, still understanding and kind of crunching the numbers, because 6 days ago, Collapse would have not done this build. But today, because JT done it, and he's seen, wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
They improved it, they optimized it. Like you mentioned, farming the jungle, going in front. Like he had, I think it was 514 GPM at 18 minutes. Compared to Luna, who had 542. Like, they were top 2 the entire way. Like, you do not see a Mars have this much farm in the game, and it is just the fact that Spirit, of course, Collapse is an incredible player, but they are still appreciating and observing all other teams in the competition so they can make sure that they can do the best when they play.
Yeah, I also want to talk about this mid lane, because we mentioned it earlier, Toronto, Tokyo, and Chuen. They have had their ups and downs during the group stages, and both of these, of course, first-timers here on the main stage. Purge, how did you feel like that matchup played out the way you were expecting it to?
I mean, there was a lot of pressure. Naturally, Jeb sent trees over to contest runes, contest bounty runes. They did try to do some ganks on Toronto, Tokyo, but almost always he got out of them. And while his net worth wasn't as high as either Luna's or Collapse's on the Mars, it didn't matter because he basically aggroed space and eventually did set up some initiations.
Yeah, because that Storm was supposed to be, like, they picked it third on Fnatic. That was supposed to be their key part of this draft.
Yep. Trouble is you're playing against this Luna like death ball concept that